The summer of 2013 was ending, and in Castaic, California, unease began to settle. Bryce Laspisa, a young man with a bright future, had vanished. His car was found overturned near the lake, abandoned. News of Bryce's disappearance spread, leaving bewilderment and dread. Family and volunteers searched tirelessly, their hope flickering against the darkness. Search parties combed the rugged terrain, their calls met by silence. Divers searched the murky depths of Castaic Lake, determined to find a trace. Weeks passed and anxiety grew with no concrete answers. The close-knit community of Castaic grappled with fear and confusion. Theories began to circulate. Had Bryce staged his own disappearance? Was this an attempt to escape pressures and reinvent himself? Or had something sinister transpired on that lonely stretch of road? Theories ranged from plausible to far-fetched. Some hoped Bryce had run away for a fresh start. Others feared the worst. Could Bryce have been the victim of foul play? Law enforcement remained tight-lipped. They followed every lead, their dedication unwavering. They interviewed Bryce's friends and family. They analyzed phone records to piece together his final hours. As the investigation continued, a palpable sense of grief and uncertainty settled over Castaic. The once vibrant town, known for its picturesque lake and strong community spirit, was now shrouded in sadness. Bryce's disappearance had become a shared burden, a reminder of life's fragility. Candlelight vigils symbolized hope and the community's support for his family. Bryce's parents, Mike and Karen Laspisa, became beacons of strength and resilience. They organized searches, distributed flyers, and tirelessly advocated for their son. National media picked up the story, drawn to the mystery of Bryce's disappearance. Despite widespread attention, the mystery of Bryce Laspisa's disappearance remained unsolved. Bryce David Laspisa, born on April 30th, 1994, was the embodiment of youthful exuberance. With his infectious smile and warm brown eyes, Bryce possessed an easy charm that drew people to him. He exuded a zest for life, his laughter echoing through the halls of Neuqua Valley High School. Growing up in a close-knit family, Bryce was the apple of his parents' eyes. His father, Mike, and his mother, Karen, showered him with love and support. Bryce's childhood was filled with family vacations, backyard barbecues, and basketball. He excelled in both academics and athletics. Bryce was a standout on the basketball court. Off the court, he was known for his quick wit and genuine kindness. In the summer of 2012, the Laspisa family embarked on a new chapter in their lives, trading the familiar rhythms of the Midwest for the sun-drenched shores of Southern California. The move was prompted by Mike's work, but for Bryce, it held the promise of adventure and new beginnings. He enrolled at Sierra College in Rocklin, eager to pursue his passion for graphic design and immerse himself in the vibrant culture of California. Bryce embraced his new surroundings with open arms, his enthusiasm for life undimmed by the cross-country move. He quickly made friends with his classmates, drawn to their shared love of art, music, and the laid-back California lifestyle. Weekends were spent exploring the beaches, hiking in the nearby foothills, and soaking up the creative energy of Sacramento. It was during this time that Bryce met Kim, a fellow student who would capture his heart. Their connection was instant, a shared spark igniting a passionate romance. Kim, with her infectious laugh and zest for life, complemented Bryce perfectly. They were inseparable, their love story unfolding against the backdrop of sunny California days and starlit nights. As Bryce settled into his new life in California, a subtle shift began to occur. The carefree, happy-go-lucky young man who had charmed his way into the hearts of everyone he met seemed to be grappling with an internal struggle. The once bright spark in his eyes flickered intermittently, replaced by a shadow of introspection that was unsettling to those who knew him best. Bryce's parents, accustomed to their son's open and communicative nature, noticed a change in his demeanor during their weekly phone calls. His usual exuberance was replaced by a quietness that spoke volumes. His responses were clipped, his tone subdued, as if he were carrying a weight on his shoulders that he couldn't quite articulate. Concerned but hesitant to pry, Mike and Karen chalked up Bryce's behavior to the challenges of adjusting to a new environment, the pressures of college life, and the uncertainties of young adulthood. They reasoned that he was simply navigating the choppy waters of self-discovery, trying to find his footing in a world that often felt overwhelming. As the summer of 2013 waned, the subtle changes in Bryce's demeanor became more pronounced, casting long shadows over his once sunny disposition. His friends, accustomed to his easygoing nature and infectious laughter, noticed a withdrawal, a reticence that was uncharacteristic of the Bryce they knew. He seemed distant, lost in his thoughts, as if a heavy cloak of worry had settled upon his shoulders. Bryce's once voracious appetite for socializing dwindled, replaced by a preference for solitude. He spent hours alone in his dorm room, the door closed, the curtains drawn, shutting out the world as he grappled with his inner turmoil. His friends would knock tentatively, their voices hushed with concern. But Bryce would often decline their invitations to hang out, his voice a mere murmur from behind the closed door. His academic performance, once a point of pride, began to falter. He missed classes with increasing frequency, his assignments piling up, his grades slipping as his focus drifted elsewhere. His professors, accustomed to his sharp mind and eager participation, noticed his absence, their expressions a mixture of disappointment and concern. They reached out, hoping to offer support, but their attempts were met with polite but distant responses. Bryce's roommate, Sean, bore witness to his friend's unraveling with growing alarm. The once immaculate dorm room, a testament to Bryce's meticulous nature, descended into disarray, clothes strewn about, empty energy drink cans littering the desk, a reflection of his friend's inner turmoil. Sleep, once a cherished respite, became elusive. Bryce tossing and turning throughout the night, his murmurs of distress audible in the darkness. One particularly difficult night, Bryce, his eyes bloodshot, his face pale and drawn, turned to Sean, desperation etched in his features. He confessed that he was struggling, that he felt overwhelmed, lost, and alone. He spoke in fragmented sentences, his words tumbling over each other, a torrent of confusion and fear. Sean listened patiently, his heart aching for his friend, offering words of comfort and support. Sean, sensing the gravity of the situation, urged Bryce to confide in his parents, to seek professional help. He reminded Bryce of his parents' unwavering love and support, their ability to help him navigate this difficult chapter. Bryce, his shoulders slumping with the weight of his burden, nodded in agreement, a flicker of hope momentarily illuminating his eyes. Across the miles, in their new home in Laguna Niguel, Mike and Karen Laspisa couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss with their son. Bryce's phone calls, once filled with laughter and animated stories of his California adventures, had become increasingly infrequent and strained. His voice, usually brimming with enthusiasm, now carried a flatness, a detachment that sent chills down their spines. Karen, her maternal instinct screaming that something was wrong, tried repeatedly to reach Bryce, her calls going unanswered, her text messages met with silence. Her anxiety grew with each passing hour, her mind racing with worst-case scenarios. She shared her fears with Mike, her voice trembling with a mother's intuition that something was terribly wrong. Mike, a pragmatic man, tried to allay Karen's fears, attributing Bryce's behavior to the normal ups and downs of college life. He reminded her that Bryce was a young man now, finding his way in the world, and that a little distance was to be expected. But deep down, a seed of doubt had been planted, a nagging feeling that couldn't be ignored. Unbeknownst to his concerned parents and friends, Bryce had been harboring a secret, a silent struggle that was slowly consuming him from the inside out. He had begun experimenting with Vivance, a prescription stimulant typically prescribed for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, hoping to find a way to cope with his mounting anxiety and insomnia. The medication, while providing temporary relief from his mental anguish, came with a dark side, its effects unpredictable and often debilitating. Bryce began experiencing wild mood swings, his once sunny disposition alternating between bouts of euphoria and crippling despair. He became increasingly isolated, withdrawing further into himself, his behavior erratic and unpredictable. His relationship with Kim, once a source of joy and stability, began to crumble under the weight of his erratic behavior. Kim, deeply in love with Bryce but unable to comprehend the drastic changes in his personality, found herself walking on eggshells. Her attempts to reach out met with anger and confusion. Bryce, lost in the labyrinth of his own mind, pushed away the one person who might have been able to pull him back from the brink. The idyllic image of Bryce and Kim began to crack under the strain of Bryce's increasingly erratic behavior. Kim, her heart heavy with worry, found herself tiptoeing around her boyfriend. The once easy banter was replaced by awkward silence and uncharacteristic anger. On August 27, 2013, their relationship finally snapped. Bryce abruptly ended their relationship, shattering Kim's heart. He offered no explanation, just a cold, detached finality. Kim was left standing there, numb with shock, as Bryce walked away. In the wake of their breakup, Bryce's behavior grew even more erratic, his actions a confusing tapestry of out-of-character decisions. He began giving away his belongings, seemingly at random, as if he were shedding his old life like a snake shedding its skin. He gifted a pair of diamond earrings, a cherished gift from his mother, to a casual acquaintance, his generosity tinged with a disturbing recklessness. Word of Bryce's strange behavior spread through his circle of friends, their concern growing with each passing hour. They exchanged worried glances, their conversations filled with unanswered questions and a growing sense of dread. What had happened to their friend, the once vibrant and outgoing Bryce they knew and loved? Had he become involved with something dangerous, something that was slowly poisoning his mind and spirit? Bryce's decision to drive to his parents' home in Laguna Niguel, a journey of over 400 miles, did little to quell their anxieties. He had always preferred to fly, finding solace in the speed and efficiency of air travel. The prospect of a long, solitary drive, especially given his fragile mental state, filled them with a sense of foreboding. Kim, concerned for Bryce, tried to dissuade him from driving. Bryce, irritated, insisted on leaving immediately. Kim, desperate, hid his car keys, but Bryce called his mother, Karen, who urged Kim to return them. Kim returned Bryce's keys with a heavy heart. Bryce drove away, his journey a solitary odyssey into darkness. The rhythmic hum of the engine provided a semblance of order in his chaotic world. Bryce's journey took a detour into the inexplicable. His phone remained silent, calls from his parents unanswered. Karen and Mike, consumed by worry, contacted the police. Bryce's car idled at a gas station in Buttonwillow. A curious attendant noted the car's license plate. Bryce remained hidden, his movements a mystery. Bryce's car remained stationary as the sun rose. His parents, desperate, contacted the police. The authorities assured them they would do everything to locate Bryce. Mike decided to drive to Buttonwillow. He hoped being closer might offer some clue. He replayed every interaction with Bryce, searching for missed signs. Mike arrived in Buttonwillow, exhausted. The gas station attendant recounted his brief encounter with Bryce. Mike stood where Bryce's car had been, imagining his son's thoughts. Mike contacted the local police. A woman claimed to have seen Bryce at a rest stop. Bryce had asked for a phone charger, but left abruptly. Police expanded their search around the rest stop. Mike retraced Bryce's presumed route. His journey led him to Castaic Lake, a place Bryce had wanted to visit. Mike found Bryce's car damaged near Castaic Lake. Police confirmed Bryce's belongings were inside, but he was missing. The discovery deepened the mystery of Bryce's disappearance. The investigation yielded no answers, only more questions. Divers searched the lake, but Bryce remained elusive. The media captured the family's anguish, amplifying speculation. The silence from Bryce was deafening. The Laspisa family, their world turned upside down, clung to each other. Mike oscillated between frantic activity and numb despair, haunted by nightmares of his son. As the official investigation continued, a parallel inquiry was taking place in the court of public opinion. Theories fueled by speculation spread like wildfire through social media. Was Bryce's disappearance a tragic accident, a desperate cry for help, or something more sinister? Some believed Bryce staged his disappearance for a fresh start, pointing to his erratic behavior and giving away possessions. Others feared foul play, a chance encounter with the wrong person. Theories offered little comfort to Bryce's family, yearning for concrete answers. Driven by an unwavering love for his son and an insatiable need for answers, Mike Laspisa refused to give up hope. He became a tireless advocate for Bryce, his voice hoarse from countless interviews, his face a familiar sight on television screens across the country as he pleaded for anyone with information to come forward. He organized searches, rallying volunteers to comb through the rugged terrain surrounding Castaic Lake, their flashlights cutting through the darkness, their voices calling out Bryce's name, their hearts united in a shared hope that they would find the missing young man. He distributed flyers, his pockets always filled with Bryce's smiling face, his hope that someone somewhere would recognize his son and provide the clue that would lead to his safe return. Mike's quest for answers became his sole focus, his days and nights consumed by the need to find his son, to bring him home. He chased down every lead, however improbable, his hope a flickering flame in the face of overwhelming despair. He clung to the belief that Bryce was out there somewhere, lost and alone, waiting to be found. A decade has passed since Bryce Laspisa vanished, leaving behind a void that time has been unable to fill. The once bright yellow ribbons have faded, much like the trail leading to Bryce. The initial shock has given way to a heavy sense of resignation. The community has resumed its normal rhythm, the memory of that summer fading. Yet for those who knew Bryce, the pain of his absence remains. Despite the exhaustive efforts of law enforcement agencies and the tireless dedication of amateur sleuths, the circumstances surrounding Bryce Laspisa's disappearance remain shrouded in mystery. The pieces of the puzzle, scattered across hundreds of miles of California highways and back roads, refuse to coalesce into a coherent picture, leaving investigators and the public alike grappling with a profound sense of frustration and unease. The lack of concrete evidence has fueled endless speculation, each new theory adding another layer of complexity to an already perplexing case. Was Bryce's disappearance a tragic accident, a desperate cry for help, a premeditated act of self-destruction, or something more sinister? The questions linger, their answers elusive, their power to torment undiminished by time. The randomness of it all is perhaps the most difficult aspect to reconcile. How could a young man, seemingly full of life and potential, vanish without a trace, leaving behind a trail of breadcrumbs that lead nowhere? The absence of answers is a heavy burden to bear, a haunting reminder of the fragility of life and the capricious nature of fate. Though the mystery of Bryce Laspisa's disappearance may never be fully solved, his story has left an enduring legacy. It has sparked conversations about mental health awareness, highlighting the importance of recognizing the signs of struggle in those we love. Bryce's story has also underscored the power of community, the unwavering support of strangers united by a common goal. The unwavering hope that fueled the search for Bryce stands as a testament to the inherent goodness that resides in humanity. And until that hope is extinguished, the memory of Bryce Laspisa will continue to inspire and remind us that even in the darkest of times, love and hope endure.